Today is 18 November, market open positive. After the initial hour move, it actually retraced and closed down 13.83272. In the process, actually it tested the very critical resistance at 3300. In fact, there was actually two previous visits before, and it actually succumbs to severe selling. So I'd like to actually observe what happens over the next couple of sessions, and this is certainly too fast too soon, and sharp retracement is likely as well, so we just have to be more cautious at this point in time. If you take a look at the 5-minute charts, you can see it's quite visibly opened. After the initial hours, it kind of fizzled out and retraced very quickly. So right now we are in an inflection point. Now if you were to take a look at the weekly charts, it's also pretty obvious that the markets has been trading within a bearish channels with extremely wild swing. So we just do not know what will happen over the next few sessions, but it's certainly at a very critical junction. Now let's take a look at the US markets. This is the S&P 500s. This is the 40 weeks against the very critical technical resistance, the 40 weeks. So again, we like to actually observe. At this point in time, it's very difficult to actually take positions, but I would like to actually let the markets review itself over the next few sections. Now, if you take a look at the Nasdaq, which is actually much weaker, the current throwbacks appear to be actually much weaker than S&P 500s. If you notice, actually the bounce is actually slight. But anything is possible, because right now at this point in time, we do see very strong counter trend moves in the European markets, in particular the DAX. So if you take a look at the index, the DAX, on the 40 weeks, there was a counter trend move and followed by a wide range bar, and obviously you're approaching obvious resistance here. So again, at this point in time, it's very crucial to actually watch closely, and this counter trend moves may well have further legs, but it is a bit matured. We see that also in the French markets. So again, it actually broke the 40 weeks and approaching this resistance level here, this congestion area. So at this point in time, we just have to pay some attention, and it's difficult to actually build any position at this point in time. Our markets actually appear to be due for a retracement, so again, a particular blue chips. Let's take a look at some of the stock we'll be discussing. This is GMC. It's getting quiet. And what happened was that after a period consolidation, once it gets too quiet, it's actually likely to experience explosive move, it's either up or down. Now, mentioned before that actually this is probably news driven, because there were indications of a potential transactions by the non-executive directors. So we just have to watch closely. If you do not have position, do not do anything at this point in time, but wait for it to review itself. Now, Semco Marine has actually made announcements of their earning, and we see mild reaction, so this is a generally healthy sign. So in any case, this is a very nice run up, and you need to actually consolidate from a base before you actually take up the recent high. But I'd like to see whether you can actually take out this high convincingly. This is at 136. We have an intraday high here of 138. By and large, this is considered nice because the pullbacks are accompanied with slightly lower volume. Let's take a look at the banks. Again, run up quite aggressively. This is UOB. Very strong upward moves, but today trade a doji. And there's actually indication of uncertainty. Against more likely to actually pull back from here. Notice we have a previous here, and it managed to actually move up slightly, but the nature of the move is very much different from the previous move. So here we see it losing momentum. DBS was the one who actually succumbs to selling with a reversal bar. Notice it actually moved up and couldn't hold the gain and reverse, closing up the warning gap, the opening gaps, and close at its poor. Against more likely to pull back. And during a pullback, I would like to see what happens. Now it may end up followed by a very sharp reversals or slight pullbacks, and that potentially means that it's a sign of strength. But again, we just have to observe the quality of the pullback. OCBC again slightly stronger than DBS. Today managed to actually make high, but then close that well. If you notice, the volume is also lower. So again, it is a sign of fatigue, likely to actually pull back. Palm oil stocks has makes the announcements, the result announcements, and generally they actually perform well. That's the reason why we see very strong move. But the crude palm oil itself is actually weak. So perhaps because of this reason, we see no follow through, and there was this pullback. Technically, a pullback is still healthy. Would like to look for it to take out this high here, which is at 171. Less preferred stock is actually Bubitama. Notice actually the pullback is actually much deeper. Wilmer is another stock which actually experienced very strong move after the release of the result, resulting with a gap. And there was this pullback, it break out very nicely. Again, right now we have a setup. Like to see take out this high here, which is at 417. Just be mindful, we have over resistance here at about 431.